आफ्टरनून। मॉर्निंग की क्लास आफ्टरनून में हो गई आज। वॉज देयर एनी क्लास इन द मॉर्निंग? अच्छा, बस तुम्हारी क्लास शिफ्ट की है। फाइन। अतिशयोक्ति। सो विच क्लास वॉज देयर इन द मॉर्निंग एंड इट गॉट कैंसल्ड? गुड फॉर यू। ओहो, सो बैड। फिर भी अच्छा है ना, यहीं सो जाते। एसी बंद कर दिया था। Chalo, so let's start with the last topic, that is Punjab, and then after we'll start with the administration of the company. Okay? So the independent state of the Punjab, or it is also called as the Sikh state of the Punjab. So before talking about the establishment of the Khalsa Empire of the Punjab or Sikh state of the Punjab, we need to know a little bit of background of the Punjab area. So it was at the time of the Lodhis then, and Lodhi's timeline is basically 1451 to 1526. That is the time that one of the contemporary of the Lodhi ruler was the Guru Nanak. And Guru Nanak was, as you all know, that he was the founder of the Sikhism. So after the life of the Guru Nanak, that tradition of the appointment of the spiritual gurus is started, and it continued till 1707. So the last spiritual guru, or the 10th spiritual guru in the Sikhism, was Guru Gobind Singh then, and he was contemporary of Aurangzeb, and his death also happened in the same year in which Aurangzeb has died. After his death, there was the system of the political appointment in the Punjab area, and the first political appointee was the Banda Bahadur. We have studied about him that his execution has happened at the later Mughal time in 1716 in the hands of the Sayyid brothers. Then after, the entire area of the Punjab, which includes both the Punjabs, Indian Punjab also and Pakistani Punjab also. So in both the Punjabs, the Punjab got divided into many such small confederacies. And these small confederacies came to be known as misl. So misls. And there were total 13 confederacies. Out of 13, 12 were Sikh and one was Muslim. Then, so 12 Sikh misl and one Muslim misl. By 1790, the most powerful confederacy out of the 12 Sikh misl was Sukar Chakia. And leader of the Sukar Chakia misl was Ranjit Singh. So what he did, that he started to persuade the Sikh misls to once again come together and create a great empire of the Punjab. And by 1799, 1800, they all got convinced, and there was a firm foundation of the modern state of the Punjab. And by Ranjit Singh, now he will be known as Maharaja Ranjit Singh from here onwards. So now when Maharaja Ranjit Singh has come to power, he was an intelligent person, and obviously he knew that who are the enemies and how they can be countered. So enemies, basically the most important is the British, who are rising in power. And he knew that he cannot challenge the British because they have a very sophisticated war technology. So rather than making British his enemies, he made them friends. And moreover, he employed British officers to create one of the strongest army of that time. So 4 British officers were employed by him for the development of a very technologically equipped army. And these officers were Ventura, Allard, Coate, and Gardner. In 1809, Maharaja Ranjit Singh wanted to expand his kingdom to the other side of the river Satluj, which we call Sis Satluj area. We'll create a map and then you will understand. So Sis Satluj area, and that is the time when he was stopped by the British, and there was a friendship treaty between him and the British. So we'll see that what was this friendship treaty and why British stopped him over there. So mention, you write, the land of Punjab, the land of Punjab. So have you written the title? नहीं, तो पहले title लिख लो, Modern Sikh State of Punjab. Modern Sikh state of Punjab. And then you mention what we were writing. Land of Punjab was a highly fertile area. Land of Punjab was a highly fertile area and also the birthplace of non-sectarian religion, Sikhism. Should I write non-sectarian? What do you mean by that? Non-sectarian. जिसमें कोई sect नहीं है. Everybody is equal. So non-sectarian religion, Sikhism. Then mention, after you write, starting from Guru Nanak, and by the time of Guru Gobind Singh, Sikhism became the most popular and accepted religion of Punjab. The most popular and most accepted religion of Punjab. Full stop. Then mention, after the death of last Guru, Banda Bahadur, was the first political appointee of Punjab. Then mention, after execution of Banda Bahadur, fragmentation of Punjab started to happen. Then mention, it led to creation of 13 confederacies. Known as MISL. M-I-S-L. Known as MISL. Then mention, out of these 13 confederacy, 12 were Sikh, and one was Muslim missile. Then mention, by 1790s, Sukar Chakia was the most powerful missile under the leadership of Ranjit Singh. Then mention, under the leadership of Ranjit Singh, full stop. He tried to bring all the Sikh missiles together. And by 1799, 1799, he was completely successful in the creation of modern Sikh state of Punjab. modern Sikh state of Punjab. Done. So now just listen. So after this part, whatever I have mentioned, we'll write later on. But एक map देख लो, and so basically 1809 Maharaja Ranjit Singh wanted that his area must extend so Satluj river, as we all know, Satluj is over here, and this area above the Satluj, this is called as Trans Satluj. Then, and this area of the Haryana and some parts of the Himachal also, so they were called as Sis Satluj. Then, so this part. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh's regime was basically in which area? So it is in Trans Satluj, which includes the entire Punjab, Indian, Pakistan, both. So at the northwest frontier province part, it is even touching Sindh also, and then taking the area of the Kashmir, even going till the Afghanistan. So these all were the areas of the Punjab. So now when he tried to annex Sis Satluj area in his kingdom, so that is the time when the local chief of the Sis Satluj area, they appealed to British authority for negotiation. And British at this point of time negotiated with the Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and it led to one treaty which is known as Treaty of Amritsar. So as per the Treaty of Amritsar, both the parties, they gave assurance to each other that they will consider Satluj as a boundary, and moreover Maharaja Ranjit Singh recognized this area, okay, Sis Satluj area, as the protectorate of the British, and British recognized this as the sovereign authority of the Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and British also promised that they will not interfere in the Punjab politics. So very rarely it is seen that British are keeping their promise. Here they kept their promise. So till the lifetime of the Maharaja Ranjit Singh, they did not interfere in the Punjab politics, and Maharaja Ranjit Singh's glorious rule continued till 1839, which is the death year of the Maharaja. After his death, slowly British started to interfere, and it was also possible due to the internal friction which was there in the Punjab court. So after the death of Maharaja, that many such contenders of the position of the Maharaja emerged. And in a very quick succession, many people were appointed to the Punjab's throne. And that's how British got the opportunity to interfere in the Punjab politics. So mention, you write. So what you have written, last line, Sikh state of Punjab. Then you write, Maharaja Ranjit Singh went on to create Maharaja Ranjit Singh went on to create second strongest army of Asia. Maharaja Ranjit Singh went on to create second strongest army of Asia with the help of British officers like so I'm writing the name on board, you can see, Ventura, Allard, Court and Gardiner. Ventura, Allard, Court and Gardner. Then mention he also introduced Western methods of army training. Western methods of army training. Then further. So Western methods of army training, full stop. He established very cordial relationship. With British. Then he established very cordial relationship with British, full stop. In 1809, 1809, in 1809, Maharaja decided to extend his territories. Maharaja decided to extend his territories in Sis Satluj area. In Sis Satluj area. It's all written on board. CIS, Sis Satluj area. Then mention at this time, the local chiefs. At this time, the local chiefs of this area, appealed to British for intervention. Local chiefs of this area appealed to British for intervention. Then mention as such, Treaty of Amritsar, was signed between British and Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Signed between British and Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1809. In 1809. Then mention, as per the treaty, Maharaja recognized Sis Satluj. As per the treaty, Maharaja recognized Sis Satluj as British protectorate. Recognized Sis Satluj area as British protectorate. Then, and in return, British recognized sovereign authority of Maharaja. Sovereign authority of Maharaja in Trans-Satluj area. Full stop. Paragraph change. Then mention the terms of treaty. The terms of treaty were respected. The terms of treaty were respected till the lifetime of Maharaja. Till the lifetime of Maharaja. Is it going fast, dictation? Fine, na? I have slowed it down ताकि आराम से अभी लिख लो. But then onus is on you to increase the speed. ठीक है? तो remember the technique which I have shared with you. जब भी कभी it is going slow, तो just change the position of the pen. ठीक है? So I think now the speed is fine. ठीक है? चलेगा ना? But बाद में मैं increase करूँगा, फिर मत बोलना. अभी नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but after 16-17 classes, I'll increase the speed. It is for you only that you need to increase the speed to write in exam. So with this speed, whatever you are writing, इस speed से अगर जो मैं calculate करूँ, तो suppose if you know, मतलब out of the 20 question, all of it you know, so with this speed, you will be able to complete only 18 questions. ठीक है? So 2 question का और हमें बढ़ाना है. I know that what is to be done. तो धीरे धीरे increase हो जाएगा. So let's come to the part. So mention, आगे लिखो, change करो paragraph and then you write. Mention the terms of treaty. The terms of treaty were respected till, लिख लिया है, a lifetime of Maharaja. ठीक है? So then you write, after the death of Maharaja in 1839. After the death of Maharaja in 1839, 39, there was quick succession of the rulers. Quick succession of the rulers. And at this time, there was quick succession of the rulers. And at this time, British got opportunity to interfere. In Punjab politics. Mention within 2 year, 2 saal. So within 2 year, in quick succession, following people were appointed. In quick succession, following people were appointed as Maharaja. So I'm writing the name Khadak Singh, Naunihal Singh, Sher Singh, and Dhuleep Singh. So these were 4 Maharajas in 2 years. Okay, just after the death of the Ranjit Singh. So Khadak Singh, Naunihal Singh, Sher Singh, and Dhuleep Singh. Then understand. So the last king is the Dhuleep Singh. And at the time of the Dhuleep Singh, actually Dhuleep Singh was a minor. He was just a child. And the queen of the Maharaja, youngest queen of the Maharaja, Rani Jindan. So she was the youngest wife of the Maharaja Ranjit Singh and the son from this particular queen. So she was ruling Punjab at this point of time. And he was the king, but she was the regent. This is the time when British further started to interfere and they started to invoke the feelings of the patriarchy also. Then that how come a woman is ruling, okay? So they started to create dissension in the Punjab court itself that you are under a patronage of a woman. So there were dissensions in the court itself. Apart from it, they were also trying to provoke the Khalsa army. So the Punjab army is often called as Khalsa army. So what they did, actually in 1845, they wanted some sort of fight with the Rani. So in 1845, they brought a large force, okay, on the banks of river Satluj. And when Maharani asked that what is the purpose of this large force, so they said that the purpose is to create a bridge on the Satluj river. But then she asked that to create a bridge, 400, 500 people or even 200 people are maximum. But you have brought a force of near about 5 to 7,000 soldiers. So what is the purpose of it? So then British again repeated, the purpose is to create the bridge. It was very clear that what is the purpose. So Rani was provoked and she decided to cross the river Satluj. And that's how the battle started. So very first battle, 1845. And in this battle, by 1846, Khalsa army was thoroughly defeated by the British. They had all the preparations to defeat them, and it ended with the Treaty of Lahore. So as per the Treaty of the Lahore, half of the Punjab was taken over by the British, which includes the half Punjab, half Sindh. Then, so half of the Punjab was taken over by them. And one more thing, that Punjab was supposed to pay 1 crore rupees war indemnity. So 1 crore rupees war indemnity, and Rani was not in the position to pay this particular war damage price. So at this point of time, when she was not able to make the payment, so Kashmir, which was the part of the Punjab kingdom, now it was sold to Gulab Singh of Dogra dynasty in 75 lakh rupees. Then, अब ये यूनिक सा इंफॉर्मेशन है, ठीक है. So Kashmir was sold to Gulab Singh in 75 lakh rupees. Who is Gulab Singh? Actually, Gulab Singh belonged to the Dogra dynasty of the Kashmir, and they were the initial rulers of the Kashmir. Okay? Before the advent of the Maharaja, They were the initial rulers of the Kashmir. In fact, Kashmir has a very different history. So, but then when your exams are over, so just go into the history of the Kashmir, and then you come across many such dynasties which has ruled in the Kashmir, Karkota se leke Dogra dynasty tak. So now once it was there with them with the Dogras, then it went to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and finally they are purchasing their own area by paying 75 lakh rupees. So this is what happened. Then Khalsa army strength was also reduced to half by the British. After this, British started to interfere in the politics of the Punjab in a much aggressive manner. And in fact, the British resident who was posted in Punjab, he was taking many of the decision. So in 1848, what he did, that Multan, in Pakistan, today's Pakistan. So there was one governor of the Multan whose name was Mulraj. So Mulraj was removed from the power, and one British agent was appointed in Multan. So after that, Mulraj, who was the governor, earlier governor of the Multan, he organized a revolt. And when his revolt started, so forces of the Rani Jindan also joined it. Khalsa army also joined it, and that led to the last battle, or the second Anglo-Sikh war. In this battle, the most decisive war was at the place called Chiliawala. And in Chiliawala, the Khalsa army was thoroughly routed. And after that, British have not given any excuse. They completely annexed Punjab into the company's dominion. So 1849, the complete annexation of the Punjab has happened, and it will, so British East India Company will have to wait just 6-7 years, then 8 years, manlo, 7 years, and then the revolt happened. So it is the peasantry of the Punjab which participated in huge numbers in the 1857 revolt. So mention, you're right. So यहाँ से लिखो. At the time of Dhuleep Singh, Rani Jindan, Rani Jindan was exercising power. Rani Jindan was exercising power. Okay? And in brackets you can write, Dhuleep Singh was her minor son. Dhuleep Singh was her minor son. Done? Then you mention after it. And Dhuleep Singh was her minor son, full stop. At this time, British intervention in Punjab politics. At this time, British intervention in Punjab politics increased further. At this time, British intervention in Punjab politics increased further. They also tried to create dissension. I have written spelling on board, meaning division. So dissension in Punjab court. Dissension in Punjab court. They often provoked Khalsa army. They often provoked Khalsa army. Khalsa army. Now, further you write after it. Paragraph change and then mention. In 1845, on the pretext of building a bridge on Satluj river, they brought huge army. Full stop. It was a highly provocative act. Provocative act. It was a highly provocative act which led to the beginning of First Anglo-Sikh War, which led to the beginning of First Anglo-Sikh War in 1845. First Anglo-Sikh War in 1845. Then mention in this fight, Khalsa army, Khalsa army was thoroughly defeated. Khalsa army was thoroughly defeated. And it ended with Treaty of Lahore. It ended with Treaty of Lahore. Then mention ended with Treaty of Lahore, full stop. 1846. Next year mein hai. 1846. Then mention as per the treaty, half of the Punjab, as per the treaty, half of the Punjab was taken over by British, and size of the Khalsa army was also reduced to half. Full stop. Moreover, Rani Jindan was supposed to pay. Rani Jindan was supposed to pay 1 crore rupees. 1 crore rupees as war damage price to British. Mention when Punjab was unable to make the payment, British sold Kashmir. हाँ, British sold Kashmir. Punjab ने नहीं sell किया था. British sold because they captured the area and they sold it to the Dogra dynasty. So British sold Kashmir to Gulab Singh. In 75 lakh rupees. चाहो तो लिख लेना in brackets Dogra dynasty. In 75 lakh rupees. Done? Then last part bhi likh lo, mention and change paragraph. So paragraph change and then you write British resident of Punjab removed the governor of Multan. British resident of Punjab removed the governor of Multan, Mulraj. In 1848. Full stop. He appointed his own agent in Multan. Full stop. at this time, at this time, Mulraj revolted. Mulraj revolted, and this revolt was further joined by this revolt was further joined by Khalsa army. Further joined by Khalsa army. They made a last attempt. They made a last attempt to throw British from Punjab. To throw British from Punjab. They made a last attempt to throw British from Punjab. Full stop, then mention. But in Battle of Chiliawala. So I'm writing on board, you can see the spelling. Battle of Chiliawala. Punjab army was thoroughly defeated. Battle of Chiliawala. Punjab army was thoroughly defeated. And in 1849, British completely annexed Punjab in Company's dominion. British completely annexed Punjab in Company's dominion. Then, so now listen a little bit. See, this is the section. Let's establish the importance of that, how questions have been asked from this particular section. So these, what we have studied till now, advent of Europeans, then we talked about the later Mughals, and all the developments related to later Mughals, their decline also, decline of Mughal, and system of the administration of the Mughal, then after the Carnatic Wars and regional kingdoms. So out of these all, the favorite topic which has been in last 4-5 years is the advent of European, जहाँ से UPSC ने अभी कुछ ज़्यादा questions पूछे हैं, ठीक है? As far as the Mughal part is concerned, so the favorite area of the Mughal part from this section is the Mansabdari, from where UPSC has asked question, ठीक है? So Mansabdari system related to that. Then comes decline of Mughal becomes important in the mains examination. Then uske baad, then out of all the regional kingdoms, let's establish the most important topic is the Bengal. So out of all the topics, the most important is Bengal, and questions have often been from the Bengal. Then the second most important is the Maratha. So first is the Bengal, second most important is the Maratha, and then all of them, rest of them, okay? Mysore, and so is the Punjab, okay? These all will come, and Carnatic Wars will come into the same category. So this is how you will have to prioritize, and Bengal's related question, not only it is a plenty in the UPSC prelims examination, but UPSC ke bahut exams hai, and I hope you'll be giving all the exams, majority of the exams then. So like I would suggest जाना है या नहीं जाना है CDS में, ठीक है? But give the exam of CDS. The reason is, I think I have shared in the class. Have I shared? देखो CDS के दो एग्जाम्स होते हैं, ठीक है? एक one exam which is in the November, and one exam which is closer to just before the prelims exam of the UPSC. So, and both are conducted by UPSC. So there is a very, I have noted it down from last more than 10 years, that regularly saying that from the last two CDS 3 to 4 questions generally, ठीक है? Normal level पे कभी कभी 7 भी गया, 7 भी गया, 3 to 4 questions are repeated from the CDS exam to the UPSC exam. So if you are giving these exams, or at least what the and remember, these 3 to 4 questions are difficult questions. Then it's not the easy ones कि पूछ लिया कि कोविड कब हुआ था, ठीक है? तो ये ऐसे नहीं होते, difficult one. And if you have done the CDS paper, so then you have an advantage over here. And moreover, उसके अलावा भी See, whenever you clear any exam na, it boosts your confidence. And any exam, चाहे state PCS exam हो या कोई भी exam हो, तो it boosts your confidence. And confidence plays a very vital role in this examination. It puts you in a very happy zone, and you are able to perform in that happy zone better. So, इसलिए exams देना. And state PCS also, where the language boundary is not there, go with the state PCS also. So, for example, that Hindi belt states are very open to all of matlab all the people. Basically, Hindi paper I think you will be able to do, but then prelims exam में काफी relevance होता है. Questions used to be very similar, so you can go ahead with the UP PCS, so as Bihar PCS regularly conducted. Madhya Pradesh also, Rajasthan is also a very difficult paper. ठीक है? How many of you are from Rajasthan? Raise your hand. Good number of the people. So you will have to prepare a separate section of the ornaments, jewelry. एक फेवरेट सेक्शन है राजस्थान पीसेस में जहां दे ओनली आस्क अबाउट द ज्वेलरी, ठीक है, एंड ऑफ अ ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी दे वियर मोर देन 200 ज्वेल्स देन and then each and every jewel is asked, so that is a kind of a predictable question. So anyways, so it will help you, ठीक है. So do give CDS paper, बाकी कुछ दो या ना दो उसको जरूर देना. तो इन पेपर्स में भी बंगाल से काफी क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, ठीक है. So that will be an advantage. Now we are going into the next topic. So understand, I'm going to start the acts and commissions, ठीक है. Basically I'll give you the background of the company's administration in India, but इसमें beginning ही होती है Regulating Act 1773 से. So Regulating Act 1773, and moreover we will continue till 1853, that is Charter Act of the 1853. So after Charter Act of the 1853, the other topics are like that, basically the land revenue system, and then so as the civil tribal uprising and 1857 revolt, that will happen. But uske baad, when we are going to start the freedom struggle, once again we will take up the acts. An act starting from the Government of India Act 1858, Councils Act 1861, Indian Councils Act 1892, then Indian Councils Act 1909, Montego-Chelmsford Reform, या फिर उसको और भी नाम बोलते हैं Government of India Act 1919 and the Government of India Act 1935. So always remember, this is the most predictable section of the UPSC exam. कुछ हो या ना हो, इनसे एक सवाल जरूर आना है, ठीक है. एक मैं मिनिमम बोल रहा हूँ. किसी किसी ईयर, in some years there are 2 questions, or some year there are 3 questions also. So this you will have to be very well versed. Then, and I would try कि it must be in a very simple manner, a story format, ठीक है, must be there, or some flag post must be there, so that एक act से दूसरा act connect कर सको, and that's how you will be able to remember. ठीक है. So start करें. So write a title, just write a title, and then we'll go into the discussion. So administration of British East India Company in India. Administration of BEIC in India. So before talking about the act, first I need to tell you the background of the company. ठीक है? So listen. We'll write it, but सुन लो पहले. So British East India Company, it was not the original name when it was created. Merchant Adventurers of the East, or East India Association of the Merchant Adventurers. Many names were given to the company when it was created in 1599. And 31st of December 1600, Queen Elizabeth gave the royal charter to the company for 15 years. But then over the period, this company better known as British East India Company. So now, when the company has arrived in India, over the period, they have increased their presence in the 3 areas. One is Bengal, then Madras, and then Bombay. And these were the prime areas of the company. So this is how they have created the 3 presidencies. So Bengal Presidency, and Madras Presidency, and Bombay Presidency. Now, so who are the decision makers, important people in these all areas? First of all, the highest decision-making body of the company. Okay? So the highest decision-making body of the company were called as Court of Directors, and their numbers were 24. So these Court of Directors, are they residing in India or Britain? Britain. Okay? So they are in Britain. And how they were appointed? So these Court of Directors were appointed on an annual basis by the shareholders of the company. So every year there is a appointment of the Court of Directors, and who is appointing? If you're shareholder, so you are appointing. Then, so shareholders of company appointing 24 Court of Director, and moreover shareholders are also called as court of proprietors. Okay, propriety, you know what is the meaning of the propriety? The हाँ yes, the one who owns. ठीक है, very good. So मतलब कि अगर जो शेयर होल्डर हो तुम कंपनी के, तो तुम ही तो ओन करते हो, you all. Then so this is how they are the court of proprietors. So these word interchangeably, sometimes they do ask shareholder of the company or court of proprietor, are they same or different? So they are same. So now they are appointing on annual basis. Then moreover, the company's 24 court of directors, among themselves they created many committees. Okay, so many committees to look each and every affair of the company. So committees, you understand, just like in any government. So for example, suppose that कि अभी government बन गई, and then there is some issue of the agricultural related, so government creates a committee of 3-4 ministers. They will be looking at that agriculture issue. Getting it? So similarly over here also, the committee of the court of directors, many committees were created who were looking after the each and every work of the company. Then moreover, what about India? ये तो Britain में हो गया, that they are the highest decision maker. In India, there are 3 presidencies. Once again, Bombay, Bengal, and Madras. And understand the word which I'm going to use. All the 3 presidencies were absolute government in themselves. So absolute government in themselves, meaning Bombay is an absolute government, Bengal is an absolute government, so as Madras. It also means that, understand, if Bombay has to take a decision, then so it does not need any consultation with Bengal. ये फ्री है अपना डिसीजन लेने के लिए, ठीक है? So the Bombay unit is free to take its own decision. It does not need any consultation with Bengal, or so as the Madras. So all of them are entitled to take their decision, and they don't need each other's consultation. They are free. That's what is the meaning of the absolute government. But then they are not reporting, consulting to each other, but to whom they will have to report? 24 court of directors. So all of them will have to report to 24 court of directors, not to each other. So this is there. Then moreover, let's take case of one presidency. Suppose we are taking the case of the Bengal presidency. So in Bengal, how the decision was taken, and the similar model would be there in the Bombay and Madras also. So in Bengal, so the head of the presidency was called as president. Then, but then they also started using word governor for the president. Then, so president or governor. Then moreover, this president, so highest decision making body in a one presidency was a council, and this council was called as governor in council. Okay, so governor in council. So in this governor in council, there would be one governor and few other members, and each and every decision is taken with the majority vote. Suppose governor को लेकर 5 लोग हैं, 5 people are there in the council. So it means that if 3 votes are in the favor of the decision, then only the decision would be implemented. Then, so if there are no 3 votes, so then it will not be implemented. So each and every decision was taken with the majority vote. So these all cases, or these all things which I have discussed, it was there till 1773, and it will change after 1773. So whatever I have discussed, this is the condition before 1773, and the change will happen from 1773. So we'll see that why change will happen. So ab likho, mention, you write. The highest decision making body, the highest decision making body of the company, the highest decision making body of the company was 24 court of directors. 24 court of directors. Then mention, they were appointed by shareholders of the company. They were appointed by shareholders of the company or court of proprietors. Court of Proprietors on annual basis. Court of Proprietors on annual basis. Then mention Court of Directors, full stop के बाद लिखना. Court of Directors created many committees to look after each and every aspect of company. To look after each and every aspect of company. Done. Each and every aspect of company. Full stop. Then mention in India, company created three presidencies. In India, company created three presidencies, that is Bombay, Bengal and Madras. Bombay, Bengal and Madras. Done. Then mention each of the presidencies were absolute government in themselves. Each of the presidencies were absolute government in themselves. Which means they were completely autonomous. Which means they were completely autonomous, independent of each other, completely autonomous, independent of each other, and did not needed consultation with each other. And did not needed consultation with each other. Done. Then mention they were only liable to report to 24 court of directors. 24 court of directors. Then अब फिर से पैराग्राफ चेंज करो. Mention in each of the presidency, a president or head, a president or governor. In each of the presidency, a president or governor was the highest position. Full stop. Then mention governor in council was the highest decision-making body. Governor in council was the highest decision-making body of the presidencies. Done. Then mention each and every decision of a presidency was taken with the majority vote of governor in council. Majority vote of the governor in council. So this is what is the background till 1773. Ab 1773 के बाद how it will change. So one thing you need to keep in mind that this is still a private company. Okay? And when we are going to talk about the Regulating Act of the 1773, so the question rises that who will regulate? Who is the regulator? So British Crown. Okay? And British Parliament is the part of the British Crown. So they will be regulating the affairs of the company from 1773. So now understand, we need to talk about the background also of the act. Okay? Particularly the first act, that what is the background of the first act. So एक title just लिखो, mention, and then we'll go into the discussion. So write Regulating Act of 1773. 1773, and in this very first part is the background. So now listen. So by 1865, what has happened in Bengal? Treaty of Allahabad. And as per the Treaty of Allahabad, what are the other terms and conditions? That is unimportant. The most important for our discussion is the dual system of governance in Bengal. So dual system of governance whereby the revenue collection right was given to British, Diwani right, and Nizamat function was with the British controlled Nawab. Then, and what is this Nizamat function? The administration, the civil administration. So now, in both the ways, Diwani function wise also and civil administration wise also, the people of Bengal were highly harassed. Okay? So they were compelled, they were harassed, and then so much of taxes were taken from them. On one hand, double system of the administration is leading to their oppression. On the other hand, Bengal faced one of the severest famine of their history, and that was the major famine of the 1770. It is said that such was the effect of this famine that 1/3 population of the Bengal was swiped. Okay? Famine, you understand, na? Bhukhamari. Then, so 1/3 population of the Bengal died. And at this point of time, there was a need from the side of the British authority or those who are in the administration to give tax relief to the people. But then tax relief were not given. It's a very inhumane thing which has happened. Now at this point of time, British Parliament was looking at these all development, and the British Crown and British Parliament did not want it to be mute spectator. When the people of Bengal are reeling under pressure and then they are highly oppressed. So in looking at these all, what they did, that they appointed a secret committee. Then, and a secret committee looking at the administration of the company. Now this secret committee, it submitted the report to the British Parliament that the British officials in India, they are so corrupt that they have amassed so much of wealth for themselves that if they retire from India and come to Britain, so they will be better called as Nawabs of London. Okay? Meaning that नवाब के बराबर पैसे इकट्ठे कर लिए हैं, and that to the corrupt money. So this is one report. Another thing, that corruption was already reported from the company from earlier times itself. Then, and another very important thing which was noted down at this point of time, that is basically company was on the verge of bankruptcy. Very surprising. The company which is looting India then is on the verge of bankruptcy. So how come it is possible? Both seems to be contradictory. It is possible because company was making the profit, but all the profit was taken by the employees. Okay? So rather than submitting the revenue in the company's treasury, it was going into the personal pockets. That's what is the corruption. Then, so that's why company was on the verge of bankruptcy. And moreover, company applied for £1 million loan in the British Parliament in 1772. So when the company applied for this loan, so at that point of time, the British Parliament grabbed this opportunity to check the accounts of the company. Let me go with a generic example. उससे बहुत अच्छे से समझ में आएगा that how anybody gets opportunity to look into the other's account, even if the government is there. So for example, that government, if इन इट इज योर अकाउंट, बैंक अकाउंट, ठीक है, बिना किसी एफआईआर के या बिना किसी पर्पस के गवर्नमेंट तुम्हारे अकाउंट में चेक नहीं कर सकता, कोई भी गवर्नमेंट। देन सो नाउ हाउ दे, लेट मी टेल यू अबाउट द होम लोन, ठीक है। आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू नो अबाउट द होम लोन, ठीक है। होम लोन में क्या होता है, दैट सपोज यू आर अप्लाइंग फॉर अ लोन ऑफ 1 crore rupees, एंड सो 1 crore rupees, so bank will give you 1 crore rupees when the bank is very much assured कि तुम 1 crore rupee पे कर पाओगे, if you will be able to repay that 1 crore rupee. So how bank will ensure? Bank will ask about access to your account, ठीक है। So they will be asking about statements, bank statements, ठीक है। So bank statement they might be asking कि आप पिछले 5 साल का बैंक स्टेटमेंट भेज दो, you must send 5 year bank statement. They will be also asking about your ITR, how much income tax return you have filed, then how much minimum balance that you have maintained. Then they will also be asking that what are your incomes, from where it is coming. Then they may also ask that salary receipt, ऐसा सब सुना है, घर में सुना होगा, ठीक है, it happens. Then so salary receipt, so bank from all the ends ensures that if it is giving the payment 1 crore to you, so it must ensure that 1 crore you will be able to repay from your income and how much your, what is your financial behavior. Similarly over here also British Parliament will look into the accounts of the company that if I give you the loan, so you will be able to pay or not. And when they looked into the account, they found the anomalies, okay. So they found the anomalies, and looking at the anomalies, they said that now the company would be regulated. Okay? So now the company would be regulated. Suppose when you are applying for the home loan and bank ने देख लिया, तो बैंक के पास एक option होगा, if there are greater transactions without the PAN reporting, so then the bank can report to the government of India कि इसमें कुछ घपला है, and then there would be ITR raid at your house. Getting it? So that's how the government starts controlling you. So over here also the parliament will start controlling, and this is the opportunity which was given by the company itself. And that's how the British Parliament started to regulate the affairs of the company, and with the provisions of the Regulating Act of the 1773. So it's the beginning, and from this beginning the Parliament will tighten its control, and by 1784 it will be the rule of both British Parliament and both and so as the company. And after 1857 it will be the rule of only British Crown, no British East India Company. So mention, you're right. So you're right. After the Treaty of Allahabad, Allahabad, dual system of government became operational. Dual system of government became operational in Bengal. In Bengal. Then mention in Bengal, full stop. As per this system, Diwani right was exercised by British. Diwani right was exercised by British, and Nizamat function exercised by British, and Nizamat function by British controlled Bengal Nawab. By British controlled Bengal Nawab. Controlled Bengal Nawab. It led to, full stop के बाद लिखना, it led to double harassment of the people of Bengal. It led to double harassment of the people of Bengal. Then mention, full stop के लिखो. Apart from it, in 1770, 1770, in 1770, a major famine happened in a major famine happened in Bengal. Major famine happened in Bengal, which swiped, which swiped near about, which swiped near about one third population of Bengal. Swiped मतलब death, यहाँ का मतलब है death. Near about one third population of Bengal. Then at this point of time, at this point of time, people expected, at this point of time, people expected relief from British authority. Relief from British authority, but it wasn't provided. But it was not provided. But it was not provided. Then mention moreover, there was very heavy corruption in the company. Moreover, there was very heavy corruption in the company. Declare. Then company officials were amassing, AMASSING, were amassing huge amount of corrupt wealth for themselves. Huge amount of corrupt wealth for themselves. Full stop. At this time, British Parliament appointed a secret committee. British Parliament appointed a secret committee to look into the cases of corruption. To look into the cases of corruption. Then mention committee reported that company officials had aggregated so much of corrupt wealth, that they can be better, called as Nawabs. Hold it from here. Of London. Yep. That they can be better called as Nawabs. Yes, now right. Of London. Then mention. Further लिखो. आगे paragraph change करो. And then you write. At this time, British Parliament did not want it to be mute spectator when the people of Bengal were in hapless situation. Hopeless नहीं लिखना, it is hapless situation and reeling under pressure. Reeling under pressure. So what is hapless? Anyone? What is it? बोल सकते हैं, दया आ रही है, ठीक है. Hapless situation is basically, हाँ, we can say pity. That's what he said, and that's what is there. And it is also the situation where you don't know that what will happen to you. ठीक है, क्या कल है या नहीं है, ठीक है. No future is known. मतलब you have no idea about your situation has, हिंदी में बोलते हैं दयनीय अवस्था. दयनीय समझते हो, ठीक है. तो that is the situation, and moreover they were reeling under the pressure of the British payments and everything. So that's how the British Parliament wanted some sort of opportunity. Then एक last add करो. In 70 paragraph change करके, in 1772, 1772, company applied for £1 million loan. Company applied for £1 million loan in British Parliament. In British Parliament, comma, as the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. As the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. Was on the verge of bankruptcy. And चाहो तो brackets में लिख सकते हो due to corruption. Due to corruption. Full stop. Mention. The British Crown, represented by Parliament, the British Crown, represented by Parliament, grabbed this opportunity British Crown, represented by Parliament, grabbed this opportunity to check the accounts of company. To check the accounts of the company and regulate its affairs. And regulate its affairs. So this is the beginning, that how it all started. So when you know the story, background story, तो provisions remember करना हमेशा easy होता है. But when you just do a fact mugging कि these were the provisions, so maybe कुछ याद होंगे, कुछ भूल जाएंगे. So now let's come to the provisions in the background of this particular story itself. So understand. So now at this point of time, पहले हमने क्या information लिखा था? That 3 presidencies, absolute government in themselves. किसी को किसी से मतलब नहीं, ठीक है? They can take their own decision. They only need to report to the court of directors. So now it was felt that there must be a reporting agency in India itself, because court of director तक report करने में बहुत time चला जाता है. India से Britain. Then so now what they did, that this regulating act of the 1773, it made governor of Bengal as governor general of Bengal. ध्यान से समझना. It made governor of Bengal as governor general of Bengal, and all the other presidencies, they needed to report to the governor general of Bengal. ठीक है? So meaning that Bombay and Madras will have to report to the governor general of Bengal. Then apart from it, Governor General of Bengal, to assist him, a Governor General Council was created in Bengal. And in this council, 5 members would be there. एक Governor General, 1 is Governor General, and 4 executive members. And each and every decision would be taken with the majority vote. So same provision is going on. That ki har decision majority vote se hoga. So this is the second provision. Then, now they realized, okay? So they realized that why there is a corruption in the company. What is the main reason of the corruption in the company? Can you tell? Private trade. Very good, exactly. It was private trade. I think हमने जब 1717 we talked about Royal Farman, I gave you that particular elaboration that why private trade was more lucrative. So now they identified that it is because of the private trade the corruption is happening. So now regulating act of the 1773, it banned private trade. Okay? So it banned private trade. Then after, there was another issue that how the things would be jurisdiction, okay, and how the adjudication will happen. So this act has said that there must be establishment of a Supreme Court at Calcutta. And accordingly, in 1774, Supreme Court at Calcutta was created. It had one Chief Justice and three other judges. So the first Chief Justice was Eliza Impe. Then apart from it, what about the corruption of the employees, that how their corruption can be checked and they can brought to the justice? So it was said that on return home, any British employee who is returning from India to Britain, so on return home, they will have to give the detailed account, detailed statement of the wealth that they have acquired in India and how they have acquired. Then another provision was added in it, is that the British employees will not accept any gift or presents from the natives of Hindustan, be it Raja or the normal population. So what is the relevance of the last provision which I mentioned? Understand karo. Suppose ki mujhe, that you are a returning employee to the Britain, and then you said that this is the wealth I have acquired, and you have a साठगांठ, Hindi word use कर रहा हूँ, you have a साठगांठ with one of the person in the India, and you said कि इन्होंने तो मुझे gift दिया था ये Mercedes, ठीक है? So then now British government cannot do anything, and that person, if they are asking, so he will say that कि हाँ मैंने दिया था, आपको क्या करना है? So then obviously, so this is to stop this tendency. They have said that you cannot accept any gift or any present from the natives of Hindustan. So these were the things which were mentioned, main provisions of the Regulating Act, and then we'll see the analysis also. So एक बार लिखो, mention करो. So provisions. एक heading डालो, write a heading, provisions of act. So in this you mention number 1, Governor of Bengal was now made Governor of Bengal was now made Governor General of Bengal. Governor of Bengal was now made Governor General of Bengal. Then you write, इसी में ऐड करो, ठीक है? Governors of Madras and Bombay. Governors of Madras and Bombay were made subservient to him. Were made subservient to him, which means subservient to Governor General of Bengal. ठीक है? एक मिनट पढ़ लेने दो मुझे, कहीं मैंने गलत तो नहीं बोला? Governor of Bengal was now made Governor General of Bengal, and Governor of Madras and Governor of Bombay made subservient to him. ठीक है? Which means they needed to report. They needed to report and consult. They needed to report and consult with Governor of Bengal. They needed to report and consult with Governor of Bengal. Done? Next provision, mention after it. To assist Governor General of Bengal, Governor General Executive Council. Governor General Executive Council was created. Executive Council was created with total 5 members. That is 4 executive members. Plus 1 Governor General. Then you write, all the decisions were taken with the majority vote. इसी में number change मत करना. All the decisions were taken with majority vote. All the decisions were taken with majority vote. And then next point to write. It banned private trade. It banned private trade by company officials. It banned private trade by company officials. Next. Every company employee. Next point. Every company employee on his return home, every company employee on his return home needed to give a detailed statement regarding the wealth and the property he has acquired in India and how he has acquired Next point. Company officials were prohibited from taking any present or gift from the natives of India. Then last you write. It called for establishment of Supreme Court at Calcutta. Full stop. Accordingly, Supreme Court was established in 1774 with one Chief Justice and three other judges. Add one more information in it. Eliza Impe was the first Chief Justice. Of Supreme Court. Done? So now listen, the problems of this particular act. Since this is the very first one, so analysis is required in this particular act. Wherever it will be required, we'll do the analysis. Wherever will be required, we'll do the background also. But not in all of them, everything is required. So let's talk about the analysis of this one. First of all, there are many anomalies in this particular act. The very first anomaly is basically, listen to it. What we have written, British Parliament, British Crown and Parliament, they are looking at the harassment of the people of the Bengal. Okay? They are double oppressed. There is a famine. There is no relief. Then people are in helpless situation. But then, have you found anything in this act which is in the favor of the people of the Bengal? So it seemed that all the statements of the British Parliament and British Crown is crocodile tear. Okay? With this crocodile tear, they just want to get a share in the Indian revenues. They are not interested in the welfare of the people of India. So there was nothing literally mentioned in it. Then come to the second provision. Second is that what we have mentioned, that Governor General Executive Council was created. There were 5 members, okay? And each and every decision was to be taken with the majority vote. So the uh, first Governor General of Bengal was Warren Hastings. And from 1773 to 1785, when he served as the Governor General of Bengal, almost all the time, more than 90% of the time, all his decisions were blocked. Okay? And was blocked by the 4 executive members. These 4 executive members were like terrorists. Okay? They ganged together and they always blocked the decisions of the that Governor General. So Governor General, who is the chief person in India, the head person in India, he is rendered powerless in his own council. So it becomes a decorative post. That is a contradictory. Then another thing, okay, another contradiction was there with the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Both the Supreme Court Chief Justice, okay, and so as the Governor General, both of them are having judicial powers. And many a times their judicial powers clashed. And many a times the situation has happened like this, कि suppose कोई एक आदमी है जिसका trial हो रहा है, Supreme Court has also given him punishment and the Governor General has also given punishment. Okay? So double, in polity you must have heard about the word double jeopardy. Okay? So that is avoided. But here it was the situation. And moreover, very often the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and Governor General was clashing with each other. Then, so this was a big problem. And moreover, what about the private trade? So सिर्फ पेपर पे लिख देने से that private trade is banned, private trade is not banned. So private trade continued as it is, okay? Because there was no mechanism to stop the private trade. Then, so these all problems remained intact. Now British authority, they are looking at these particular problems, and at least one of the problem was addressed in the 1781. So there was one amending act in the 1781, which is called as the Amending Act of the 1781. It solved one of the anomaly, that is basically now the powers of the Governor General was placed above the Supreme Court. Judicial powers of the Governor General was placed above the Supreme Court. So for example, suppose Supreme Court has given a punishment, some punishment to somebody, suppose that capital punishment. Capital, you understand? Death punishment. And so suppose it has given, so that person will appeal to the Governor General, he can change the punishment and that punishment will be the final punishment. Getting it? So now the double jeopardy will not happen from 1781. So this problem was solved. But what about the other problems? So other problems will be solved in the next act, which is Pitt's India Act of the 1784. Then, so mention, you write, analysis of the act. Analysis of the act. So first you write, mention, number करके लिखना, number डाल के, nowhere in the act, nowhere in the act, any welfare measure, nowhere in the act, any welfare measure for the people of Bengal, any welfare measure for the people of Bengal was mentioned. Any welfare measure for the people of Bengal was mentioned. Number 2, mention. Governor General was rendered powerless. Governor General was rendered, R-E-N-D-E-R-E-D, powerless in his own council. In his own council. As very often the 4 executive members, ganged together to block the decisions of to block the decisions of Governor General, to block the decisions of Governor General. Then next you mention corruption in company and private trade. Corruption in company and private trade continued. Corruption in company and private trade continued as it is. Private trade continued as it is. जैसा हाँ it is का मतलब it is. हाँ जैसे चल रहा था वैसे. Then आगे उसी में ऐड करो. Since there was no mechanism, since there was no mechanism to stop private trade. Since there was no mechanism to stop private trade. Then next point you write. Often there was clash. Next point. Often there was clash between the judicial powers. Clash between the judicial powers of Governor General and Supreme Court Chief Justice. Governor General and Supreme Court Chief Justice. Done? Then एक last लिख लो. Bombay and Madras Presidency. Bombay and Madras Presidency were still acting. Bombay and Madras Presidency were still acting on their own discretion. Were still acting on their own discretion, and hardly they consulted. And hardly they consulted to Bengal Governor General. To Bengal Governor General. Then, so now change paragraph and then mention. Amending Act of 1781. Amending Act of 1781 placed the judicial powers of Governor General, placed the judicial powers of Governor General above the judicial powers of Chief Justice. Above the judicial powers of Chief Justice of Supreme Court. Chief Justice of Supreme Court. Then हो गया? See, the way you guys are writing and looking at me, मुझे लग रहा है कि कितना guilt है, ठीक है? इतना लिखवा दिया. So this is what you have to write. Obviously, there is no escape from this one. And moreover, see, if you will be disinterested na at this point of time, तो ये section कभी याद नहीं होगा. That's a reality. So if you are feeling sleepy or if you are feeling that कि अरे समझ नहीं आ रहा है, तो actually नहीं समझ में आएगा. But then if you are interested, so it will always remain. You just need a one revision of this particular part. Then, so be little active in this. ठीक है? चाहो तो you can use n number of the ways. जैसे you are drinking water. ठीक है? I'll share one thing with. What we used to do, it was our optional classes in one of the reputed institute, and so as then those were the times कि इतनी सुविधाएं नहीं होती थी. So another class is going on, and then we have to wait outside just like you do then, and that too in the ये sunlight में, ठीक है? 2 बजे की क्लास होती थी and lines were created like this. And if you're not coming early, so then you will never find a seat in the front or the middle row. You will have to be on the back side of the seat, और ऐसे screens भी नहीं होते थे. And the faculties used to write with the pen, and that too very small font. दिखाई भी नहीं देता था, मैं तो पहले से ही अंधा था. So and so it was a problematic. But then afternoon time also, and we generally, the preparation area was divided. Not all the people were living in old Rajendra Nagar. Mukherjee Nagar was a big center at that point of time. So more than half of the people used to live in the Mukherjee Nagar, including me also. Then, so we used to come from the metro and then for this particular place. So वो खाना वाना खा के आते थे, नींद तो बहुत आती थी, ठीक है? And in classes, so we kept one device that we were keeping the candies. Then, so often वो class में start हो जाता था, खड़ 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 खड़. Then, so एक किसी ने टॉफी खाया, सबने ले लिया. And one fine day, our faculty also, तुम लोग को देख के मुझे भी नींद आ रही है, मुझे भी दे दो. So you can actually, what I am trying to say, keep yourself active. Do something, ठीक है? You can take any such thing, any candies or toffees or Happy Dent, whatever suits you, but then be active in the important topics. This is important topic. जहाँ पे नहीं होगा, वहाँ पे मैं बता दूंगा. So now you write the next act, name you write. Pitt's India Act of 1784. So Pitt's India Act of 1784. थोड़ा डिस्कशन कर लेते, then I'll give you a break. ठीक है? Will not write, ताकि तुम्हें आराम मिल जाएगा. So Pitt's India Act was named after the British Prime Minister William Pitt the Younger. Then, and the background of this act is the anomalies of the 1773 Act. So they have tried to correct these anomalies. Let's understand what are the provisions. So first of all, that very first thing, okay, that to control the corruption of the company, they have felt that since there is no mechanism, and in fact there is an involvement of the court of directors also, by corruption बिना highest authority के तो होता नहीं है. If they are giving you chance, so then only from the lower level corruption starts. If the upper level becomes completely clean, so नीचे भी वो clean हो जाएगा. So there was a nebulous connection between them. So now the British Parliament has decided that they will be creating another body, okay, to control the corruption of everyone. And this body was known as Board of Control. And so a 6-member Board of Control was created in the Britain, and it was the parliamentary body. So this body will be controlling or looking after the each doings of the court of directors. So they will check the civil, military, revenue, all the accounts done, and they will be directing the court of directors done. So this is what was new mechanism. And with this new mechanism, it is said that the joint rule of the British Crown and so as the British East India Company has started in India. Because Board of Control, who are they? The companies, they are not the companies official, they're the parliamentary body. And what is parliamentary body? Representative of the Crown. So Crown rule and the British East India Company's rule has started. This question has been asked in the prelims 2 times. Okay? In which particular act, from which particular act, joint rule of the parliament and the company started. So that is 1784. Moreover, in British Parliament, there used to be a person who is known as Secretary of State. His position is like cabinet minister, just like we have cabinet minister. So he is a cabinet minister in the British Parliament, but the position is known as Secretary of State. So Secretary of State was made the president of the Board of Control. So 6 members हैं. One of the member is Secretary of State, and he is the president of the Board of Control in India. But then, when later on we'll be doing the analysis of this part, that is it effective to control somebody, create another body? Is it effective or not? We will have a discussion on it. So ये पहला provision हो गया. Then moreover, after it, the next thing was that the company's position, meaning that whatever territories that are held by the company, so company's positions for the first time, they were called as British possessions in India. So पहले उसको बोलते थे company's possession, meaning that it is the property of the company. But now it is called as British possession, which means that it is property of the company and the British Crown also. Then another thing, to give more hand to Governor General, it was thought that if we remove one executive member from the council, how many executive members were there? 4. 4 थे, ठीक है? And 1 Governor General. So if they remove 1 member from the executive council, so 3 executive members would be there. And then if governor general gets the support of only 1 executive member, तो vote कितना हो जाएगा? 2-2, 2-2. And governor general will be having the casting vote. With the casting vote, he can go ahead with his decision. Have you heard the word casting vote? Polity हो रही है classes? But anyways, I hope you must be knowing. Suppose in the parliament itself, who has the casting vote? Speaker. Very good. तो अच्छा है, तुम्हें पता है. तो with the casting vote, he can go ahead with his decision. So this was one of the provision. Then they tried to do this thing, but ये भी काम नहीं आया. ठीक है? We'll see why it did not came to the rescue of the Warren Hastings. And apart from it, this particular act also maintained that the British East India Company must not interfere in the local politics of the native rulers. But even this provision was not followed by the company officials. So एक बार लिखोगे अभी या फिर दिन ब्रेक के बाद? कंप्लीट कर लेते हैं, लिखो, मेंशन करो. So, mention. You write. After it, you write. Very first thing. It was named after British Prime Minister. It was named after British Prime Minister William Pitt the Younger. Named after British Prime Minister William Pitt the Younger. Done. Then mention. This act tried to correct. This act tried to correct the issues of regulating act. Issues of regulating act. Done. Then mention. After it, a पहला provision लिखो. It created a new body. It created a new body in Britain. It created a new body in Britain known as Board of Control. Known as Board of Control with 6 members. Known as Board of Control with 6 members. Full stop. Then you write, British Cabinet Minister, British Cabinet Minister, Secretary of State was made. Secretary of State was made the President of Board of Control. President of Board of Control. Then next point you write, Board of Control was supposed to supervise the functioning of Court of Directors. Supervise the functioning of Court of Directors. Then next you mention, it led to the beginning of joint rule. It led to the beginning of joint rule of British Crown and East India Company in India. East India Company in India. Done. Then next you write, it differentiated the commercial. It differentiated the commercial and political functions of the company. Commercial and political functions of the company. Just wait for a minute. What is it? Commercial and political functions of the company. So basically, ध्यान से समझना, Commercial function is something with which the company has arrived in India in after 1600. What was their enterprise? The trade. They are bringing the goods from the Britain, purchasing the goods from India, selling it in the Britain. And that's how they started creating their factories in India. So initial enterprise of theirs is all commercial. But then over the period, when they are fighting with the Indians, or particularly Indian rulers, so they have been victorious against the Indian rulers. They have got the political territories for themselves, and they are getting an income from the political administration. So Diwani right will come under which category? Political or commercial? Political. Okay? So it is political. Then, because income is political, you have become the ruler of area, and ruler बनने के बाद पैसा मिल रहा है. So it has differentiated. So differentiation का मतलब ये है, it means that it has been said to the company that whatever be your income from your commerce and enterprise, your factory, uska account alag rahega, and whatever be your income as a ruler of some area, that will be a separate account. So that's how it is distinguished. Now you can ask a question that why it has been said so. So basically, the company will not be able to fudge or merge both the accounts. So for example, if the commercial aspect of the company is bankrupt, and if they merge with the political account, so it will seem ki profit mein hai. Getting it? So it means that company will always operate and they will do the corruption. But if both are separate, so it seems that political account is obviously surplus, ठीक है? उसमें कुछ करना नहीं है, but just being a ruler, you are collecting the revenue. And on the other hand, commercial account, bankrupt. So then what would be the instruction of the parliament? For any company which is going bankrupt, बंद करो अपना business, घर वापस आओ. Getting it? अगर जो इससे नहीं समझ में आ रहा, I'll tell you one more scenario. Have you heard about the PSUs? PSUs में, the profit-making PSUs are given many names. Then, so for example, the PSU which gets more profit, Maharatna. Have you heard? Then Navaratna, then Miniratna. And those PSUs which are not performing, what government will do with them? If they are not in the profit scenario, it will be disinvestment. Very good, exactly, disinvestment. Or normal word use karte hain. The company, either it will be sold to somebody else or otherwise it will be completely abolished. So there are n number of the PSUs of the government of India which has been completely abolished. All the property has been given to NCLT, and NCLT uske सारे property को बेच के पैसे निकालता है. So this is what happens. This is the process. So अगर एक company function नहीं कर पा रही है, if a company is not able to function, so is there any logic in continuation of that company? So I'll tell you one very good example from the perspective of the very good example, and already we have discussed this earlier also. So Bajaj, one very old company of India, okay? And when the name of the Bajaj comes into our mind, so the first picture is all about Bajaj scooter. But are they manufacturing the scooter at this point of time? Have you seen that new Bajaj scooters coming? Because that particular aspect of the company became no more profitable. They stopped that particular venture of the company, and now they have entered into the new areas where they are making the profit. So where they are making the profit? Finance, Bajaj Finance, then getting it. So company अगर जो काम नहीं करेगी, profit में नहीं होगी, company को बंद कर देना है. That's what happens, right? So here also, if the commercial account is separate, so then only the parliament will get to know कि company's commercial aspect is profitable or not profitable. If it is not profitable, so then it will be closed. And if it is profitable, so it can continue. And that result you will see in the upcoming acts. Okay? So next you write, mention. After it you write, for the first time in this act, companies' territory in India was referred as British possession in India. Was referred as British possession in India. Possession in India. Then next you write, one executive member was removed from Governor General Council one executive member was removed from Governor General Council so as so as if Governor General gets support of if Governor General gets support of one executive member one executive member then then with his casting vote then with his casting vote he can go ahead with his decision he can go ahead with his decision done any class likh lo mention so right one of the provision of this act one of the provision of this act is that one of the provision of this act is that it prohibited interference in the native politics of India और इंडिया लिखने के बजाय नेटिव पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ द किंगडम्स लिखना नेटिव पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ द interfere in the native politics of the kingdoms ठीक है so this is what is about the Pitt's India Act we'll see analysis of it break ले लो उसके बाद and then we'll start with the So let's have a look at that. What were the issues with this particular act? So first of all, let's have a discussion on creation of the board of control. एक नई body create करने से क्या corruption रुक जाएगा? So it depends. But then in majority of the cases, creating a new body will not address the problem necessarily. Here the problem is that if the court of directors, everyone is corrupt. So to control them, you are creating another body. What is the guarantee that another body will not become corrupt? Then understand that court of director had immense power. And one of the immense power was that they were appointing the civil servants in India. And moreover, the board of control people, they also developed a kind of a nexus, nebulous connection developed between the board of control and the court of directors, whereby even the board of control also wanted favors from the court of directors. And the passage of the corrupt money to them also. ठीक है? So जो नीचे से पैसा आ रहा है ऊपर तक वो और ऊपर तक चला जाए. So actually corruption once again it did not stop, and board of control also became corrupt. And so this is one of the problem, and another problem was the Governor General's problem. It remained intact. So Governor General still 3 members and 1 Governor General. Even after removing 1 member, the 3 members ganged together, and Warren Hastings ऐसा लग रहा था कि कसम खा रखी है कि Warren Hastings को कुछ करने ही नहीं देंगे. So they actually did not, they did not allow him to take the decisions, and that's how in 1785, when Cornwallis was about to come to India, he demanded in British Parliament that I will go to India only on one condition, that I don't want to be a decorative piece. Give me the proper powers, otherwise I would not. So a special act was passed in the British Parliament in 1786, which gave the overriding power to the Cornwallis, meaning that he can neglect the opinion of his councillors. And that's how he was the one. अभी आगे हम पढ़ेंगे civil services, judiciary, police. So everywhere he were able to bring the reform because of this particular overriding power. So that is the one thing. So Warren Hastings was a bichara unfortunate guy that he didn't got this particular thing, but then Cornwallis will be getting it. So mention karo flaws or analysis likho, analysis of 1784 Act. Analysis, and analysis mein likho very first thing that a nebulous connection of corruption, nebulous, a nebulous connection of corruption developed between court of directors and board of control, developed between court of directors and board of control, Then next point, no check on private trade, no check on private trade was affected by this time, No check on private trade was affected by this time. Third, even after removing one executive member, Governor General was still powerless in his council. Governor General was still powerless in his council. So let's go into the next act. So the next act is a different one, and it is more related to the privileges of the company and the renewal of the charter. So understand that Charter Act of the 1793, since the word is mentioned charter, and remember in 1600 company was given 15-year charter, and then we have written that later on the charter was extended for the infinite period till further notice. So suppose that 1615 was the last year, and then after it was extended for the infinite period till further notice. So 1793 is the year of the further notice. Then, so this particular act will decide that the privileges of the company till how much of time it will remain intact, and then once again there would be a case of renewal. So Charter Act of the 1793, it renewed the charter of company for next 20 years, meaning that whatever powers that they have, it will remain intact till 1813. And in 1813, once again, it will be decided that they can continue with their same powers, or it will be a decreased power or decreased privileges. So that is one such part. Then there are many other things which were introduced at this point of time. So the overriding power which was given to Abhi likh lenge, overriding power to the Cornwallis, and then we'll start this act. So overriding power which was given to Cornwallis, now with the Charter Act of 1793, it was further extended to everyone. Then, so further extended to everyone. Then moreover, another thing that British felt at this point of time, since they are further holding the Indian administration and they are consolidating. So they felt at this point of time that Indian administration must not be on the basis of this particular rule of the rulers. Then, so rule of the rulers, and it must be based on the written laws. So it must be based on the written laws. Now, there is something which is contradictory over here. Does Britain functions on written laws? Any idea? But in India, they want written laws. So now the personal rule of rulers would not be there and written laws would be there in India. And they further said that these written laws, they must be translated in the local languages. So translated in local languages. Why so? So that people can know about their rights and immunities. Then, so mention karo, pehle ek note likho, write a note. Before writing Charter Act, write a note, and in this note you write, in 1785, Cornwallis was appointed as the new Governor General. Then mention, he demanded overriding power in his council. He demanded overriding power in his council. Mention, full stop. As per the Special Act of British Parliament, as per the Special Act of British Parliament, in 1786, in 1786, Cornwallis was given Cornwallis was given overriding power in his council. Cornwallis was given overriding power in his council. Done? Overriding power in his council, full stop. आगे लिखो, mention. So, nahi, this is fine. Then you write Charter Act of the 1793 as a title. So, Charter Act of 1793. Very first one you write. It renewed the company's charter. It renewed the company's charter for next 20 years. Company's charter for next 20 years. Then mention. Next one. The overriding power. Second point you are writing. Okay? So the overriding power given to Cornwallis, the overriding power given to Cornwallis was further extended to all the governor generals. Was further extended to all the governor generals. Done? Then, next you mention. British felt, next point, British felt that Indian administration must be based on the written laws, instead of personal rule of the rulers. Full stop. फिर add करो. It further called for, next point, it further called for translation and publication of written laws, in the vernacular languages of India, so that people can know about their rights and immunities. Done? Then एक और provision last is, so it said that Governor General and his Executive Council payment, his salary, okay, will not be paid from the British Exchequer. What is British Exchequer? Just like in India, we have Consolidated Fund of India, then, and I hope you know all the funds of the government, public accounts, PAC, public accounts, and so as the Consolidated and Contingency Fund. So similarly, they have the British Exchequer. So earlier, the payment was made from the British Exchequer, particularly for the Governor General and the councillors. But now the payment will be made from the Indian revenues and British government will not pay it. So you write, it also maintained, last point, it also maintained that the salaries of Governor General that the salaries of Governor General and his council will be paid from Indian revenues, and not from British exchequer, not from British exchequer. Then, so this is what is about this particular part. Got it? So now इसमें कोई analysis का कोई role नहीं है, but then the last thing that we are going to do today, that is the Charter Act of the 1813, where the background is required. And since there is no such analysis of this one, so background of the Charter Act is required, 1813. So understand. So 1813 is the time. Okay, there are many things which has happened in the world politics. First of all, 1789 French Revolution, and after the French Revolution, rise of Napoleon in France. So rise of Napoleon, and Napoleon was highly effective in the Europe, and in fact he was able to make more friends than Britain in the Europe. So what he did by this point of time, he created continental system. You will be reading in the world history. ये part है उसमें, and actually it is an important part from the exam perspective also. So he created continental system. Large number of the European countries, they became the partner of the continental system. So that is one thing, and it is totally against the Britain. Now, if we look at the position of the Britain by 1810, the same industrial revolution at climax. Large number of the manufacturers, and all of them are having very unique products and large number of the manufactured good. So keep this in mind. Now Napoleon, what he did in 1806 and 1807, he came up with two instructions. These instructions are called as decree, D-E-C-R-E-E, decree of Berlin, and second was decree of Milan. So Berlin is in Germany, Milan is Italy. So these two decrees he released, and with these two decrees, he banned any kind of trade with the Britain. So meaning that all the countries of the Europe, they will not purchase any good of the Britain. So which means a large number of the manufactured goods in the Britain, they will remain unsold. Then, and this is in economics what you call inventory. I hope you know inventory. So this will become inventory. अब उस टाइम पे तो ऐसा था नहीं कि वर्ल्ड वाज नॉट ग्लोबलाइज्ड, देन उस टाइम पे ऐसा तो था नहीं कि ब्लैक फ्राइडे सेल, वैलेंटाइन सेल, ठीक है, दिवाली सेल, होली सेल, कम पैसे में बेच दो. So the problem with all the manufacturers of the Britain was that the market of India and China, ठीक है, they hold a unique distinction in the world. And the unique distinction of the India and China, right from the inception of the humanity, okay, when the development has happened, so these two countries, they controlled, or they had half the population of the world, closer to half the population of the world, which means half the market of the world is in this particular area, China and India, Milado. So, but then in China and India, there is a monopoly of one company, and that company is the British East India Company. So it means that other companies from the Britain, they cannot sell their products in India, and so as in the China. So now these manufacturers from the Britain, they started to create pressure on the British Parliament that why you give so much privilege to a company which is not commercially viable, which is a bankrupt company. And then on one hand, we are a functioning company, we are not given any access to the Indian market or the Chinese market. So their pressure was right, obviously. And at this point of time, there was a very famous thinker in the Britain. His theory was very popular. The name is Adam Smith. I hope you have heard. And what is his theory? Laissez-faire. So free trade theory. So it is free trade theory whereby it says that there must not be monopolies. As per the Adam Smith, there must not be any monopolies, and if the monopoly would be there, so this is not the right practice of the growth. So if the monopolies are not there, competitive market is there, so that is facilitative for any trade industry. So now his theory was taken, well taken in the entire Europe, and now these people or manufacturers of the Britain, they were also quoting that our own person, okay, the British thinker, he is popular in other areas, then and using his theory, everybody is getting benefit and we are not using it. So this was a real pressure, and British Parliament tweaked some of the things in the Charter Act of the 1813. So in this background, they have come up with the provisions. इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा provisions नहीं है, but then they are very important, and the first one is very important. So Charter Act of 1813 ended the monopoly of the company in India. ठीक है? So ended the monopoly of the British East India Company in India, meaning that other manufacturers will be allowed to enter into India. But company requested कि कुछ privileges उसके पास होने चाहिए, that they must retain some privileges. So then tea trade monopoly was rested with the company, ठीक है? And China trade was still with the company. So this is the change which has happened. So though the company's monopoly of trade ended in India, however, company retained tea trade monopoly and then trade with the China. Then, and this particular charter renewed their privileges for the 20 years. Then apart from it, this charter was the first one which allowed the Christian missionaries to come to India under a license and propagate the moral education, religious education in India. Though the wordings are the moral education, religious education, but actually the missionaries came for the missionary activity only, conversion of the people into the Christianity. And then it was well supported by the British authority in this duration. Then another very important provision of this act is that it said that rupees 1 lakh will be allocated for the purpose of the promotion of education in India, and this rupees 1 lakh is allocated from the Indian revenues. It is not the British Parliament which is giving. So from the Indian revenues, 1 lakh would be allocated. But the problem with this particular money, it wasn't made available till 1820s. 1822 में थोड़ा बहुत पैसा, ठीक है, little bit of money was released from the public instrument on the public instruction, but still not the all money. And finally, it is in the 1833 when William Bentinck was the Governor General. So at that point of time, he created a committee and that solved the problem of the money, and then it was made available. Then, so 20 years tak it wasn't made available. So you write, mention karo, Charter Act of 1813. And first we will write the background. Charter Act of 1813. Mention background. Right. By the end of 18th century, rise of Napoleon happened in France. Europe लिखो, happened in France and Europe. Rise of Napoleon happened in France and Europe. Full stop. He was arch rival. He was arch rival of Britain. ARCH. Arch rival of Britain. Meaning जानी दुश्मन, ठीक है? So then you write, he created continental system. He created continental system with which large number of the European countries got associated. Large number of European countries got associated. Full stop. Mention further. In 1806 and 7, in 1806 and 1807, he released Decree of Berlin and Milan. Whereby he banned any kind of trade. He banned any kind of trade with Britain. Whereby he banned any kind of trade with Britain. Full stop. Paragraph change karo. By this time, by this time, Britain was at the peak of, by this time, Britain was at the peak of industrial revolution. Industrial revolution. And it was manufacturing hub of the world. Manufacturing hub of the world. And full stop. With the declaration of Napoleon, Napoleon, the entire European market, became unavailable for British manufacturers. Full stop. At this time, these manufacturers started to create pressure. These manufacturers started to create pressure on British Parliament. To end the monopoly of British East India Company to end the monopoly of British East India Company in India and in China. They demanded access to Indian and Chinese market. They demanded access to Indian and Chinese market. Then Indian and Chinese market. They also quoted Adam Smith's theory of laissez-faire. They also quoted Adam Smith's theory of, so this is a French word, laissez-faire, and brackets में लिख लेना free trade theory. Oh, just 1 minute, it's wrong. So that is Z. So free trade theory. So this was the background of this particular Charter Act of the 1813. So let's write the provisions. Mention. So number 1 provision you write. Mention. It renewed the company's charter. For next 20 years. It renewed the company's charter for next 20 years, but company's monopoly of trade in India ended. But company's monopoly of trade in India ended. Full stop. Second point. However, company retained its monopoly in tea trade and trade with China. However, company retained its monopoly in tea trade and trade with China. Then, next point. So next point, just listen. See, 1813 Act, it clearly mentioned that the intention of the British authority is to establish British paramountcy in India. Let me write this word. I have mentioned it at the time of the uh, subsidiary alliance also. But here it was a clear statement. So what is paramountcy? British authority will be paramount and supreme in India, and Indian powers would be subordinate to the British authority. So you write, next point you mentioned. It clearly declared that the intention of British authority in India, it clearly declared that intention of British authority in India is to establish British paramountcy in India, is to establish British paramountcy in India, whereby British power would be paramount and supreme. British power would be paramount and supreme, and the Indian powers would be subordinate to British. Indian powers would be subordinate to British. Done? Next point. Fourth point you write, mention. It allowed Christian missionaries to settle in India. It allowed Christian missionaries to settle in India under a license, and they were entitled to promote moral and religious education. They were entitled to promote moral and religious education in India. Moral and religious education in India. Full stop. And the last provision you write, last one. Mention. It allocated 1 lakh rupees. It allocated 1 lakh rupees from Indian revenue for the purpose of education. In India. And so in this only brackets you write what were the issues with this last one. So brackets mein likho, however, this money was not made available. Completely till 1833. Full stop. Then you write, in 1820s, little bit of money was released as per instrument of instruction. Then, so देखो, this is the topic we'll be covering once again. कहाँ पे? When we are completing the entire syllabus of the freedom and partition, उसके बाद we are going into the topic of the miscellaneous topics, where whatever that has been left or those topics which are not in the political aspects, so then we'll cover like education, ठीक है? So actually in education itself, once again we'll be talking कि ये पैसे available क्यों नहीं हुए, ठीक है? What was the debate and discussion at this point of time? And there are n number of the topics which will be covered in those miscellaneous topics. So that's it for the today's class. एंड नेक्स्ट वीक का स्केड्यूल है, हैव यू गॉट इट? मे बी बाई इवनिंग. सो जब भी नेक्स्ट वीक में क्लासेस हैं, विल बी कंप्लीटिंग दिस पार्ट एंड विल स्टार्ट विद द one more part of the British administration, that is civil services, army, police and judiciary. ठीक है? So next class में we'll be able to complete these all. चलो, thank you. कोई exam दे रहा है? I asked in the last class, one person was there. Anyways, if anybody is giving, so best of luck. अरे पेपर हो जाता तो खुद दे लो ना पेपर. कल 11:30 पेपर would be over. 10 से 15 मिनट के अंदर, आजकल तो डिजिटल एज है, 10 से 15 मिनट के अंदर पेपर इज ऑन द वेब. सो ट्राई टू सॉल्व, एटलीस्ट देखो ना कि तुमसे क्या हो रहा है, कितने हद तक. चलो, थैंक यू.